Okay, okay, let's start. Let's start. Today we are going to solve this question. This question belongs to your thermal stresses. Question says that an assembly is shown in figure in which there is a gap between aluminium bar and rigid slab. In diagram I have shown there is one rigid slab and there is two copper bar. These are copper bar. This is also a copper bar and this is aluminium. Okay. Now it says that the gap is 0.18 mm. The gap is 0.18 mm, neglecting the mass of slab. Okay. So the gap, this delta is equals to 0.18 mm. Neglecting the mass of slab and assuming bond between slab and copper bars. Find the stress developed in each bar if temperature of assembly is raised by 85 degrees centigrade. Okay. Area of each copper bar is 500 mm square and area of aluminium is 400 mm square. And EAL denotes the Young modulus of aluminium is 70 gigapascal and Young modulus for copper is 120 gigapascal. And alpha Cu and alpha Al are the coefficient of thermal coefficients. Okay. And length of copper bar is given us to 750 mm. So let's solve this. So as our question says that this is my rigid slab. Okay, this is rigid slab which is being attached to, this is copper and this bar is aluminium. This is delta. Delta is given us to 0.18 mm. This length of copper LCU. LCU is given us to 750 mm. So what will be L? Length of aluminium, that will be 750 minus 0.18, that is 749.82 mm. Okay. E aluminium is given us to 70 gigapascal. This is 70 gigapascal. And E copper is given us to 120 gigapascal. Alpha for aluminium is given us to 16.8. That is 16.8 into 10 to the minus 6 per degree centigrade. And alpha for copper is given us to be 23.1 into 10 to the minus 6 per degree centigrade. Is it clear? These are the information which is given to us. Okay. So, and it says, okay, temperature increase is 85 degrees centigrade. And it says find the stresses in the bar. Okay. So first we have to see what are the equation we can form. So first equation we can form is that this is my rigid slab. Okay. And there will be temperature increase. Temperature is increased from 0 to 85 degrees centigrade. So my copper bar, like this, copper bar will elongate My copper bar will try to elongate like this, and my aluminium bar will also try to elongate like this. Now final change will be same for all of these bar, okay, because final position of a rigid slab will be same. So I can say that if I assume there is a tensile force in aluminium bar, then there will be compressive force in copper bar. So I can write that force in aluminium is equals to 2 times force in copper. Why I am doing 2 times? Because there are 2 copper bars. This is copper bar and area is same. If area was not same, I would have written here force in copper bar 1 plus force in copper bar 2. Force can be written as sigma aluminium into area aluminium is equals to, here I can write sigma copper into area of copper plus sigma copper into area of copper, that will be equals to 2 times sigma copper into area copper. Sigma aluminium into A aluminium. Now A aluminium is given to us. 400 mm square and area of copper is given us to 500 mm square. Okay, so I'll write here sigma aluminium into 400 is equals to 2 times 500 into sigma Cu. So sigma aluminium is equals to 0.4 times sigma copper. So this is my equation 1. That my sigma copper, stress in copper is equals to 0.4 times of sigma aluminium. Okay, now I want another equation. So in terms of deflection, I have to write another equation. So I will say that my deflection in aluminium bar will be equals to 0.18, or I should say like this. This is rigid slab, okay, and this is copper slab, and this is aluminium slab. So whatever be the deflection of this aluminium, let's suppose this aluminium final deflection will come to be here. All my rigid level, this A will be transformed to this A dash. Now let's suppose this is my delta aluminium, and this will be equals to delta copper, final deflection in copper. So I can write that, and this distance is 0.18. So I can write that my delta aluminium minus 0.18 will be equals to delta copper. Okay. So I can write that delta AL is equals to delta copper plus 0.18. So this is my equation 2. Now delta AL will be deflection due to free expansion plus deflection due to restraint, because rigid slab is providing us the restraint. So deflection due to free expansion is known as alpha aluminium into A length of aluminium into alpha aluminium into temperature rise. Okay. Now, what I have assumed? I have assumed aluminium bar to be in tensile of nature. So, if I am assuming to be of tensile nature, I will write plus sigma aluminium into L aluminium upon E aluminium. Is it okay? Is it okay? Okay. Now my delta copper will be equals to deflection due to free expansion plus deflection due to restraint. So what is my deflection due to free expansion? That will be alpha L copper, length of copper into alpha copper into temperature increase minus because we have assumed the compressive stresses here. Sigma Cu into LCu upon ECu. Okay, now putting all these value in equation 2. So when I'll put all these things in equation 2, it will come out to be L AL into alpha AL into T plus sigma AL into LAL upon EAL. Okay, this is my deflection due to aluminium is equals to, now whatever is the deflection due to copper, that will be LCu alpha Cu into T minus sigma Cu into LCu upon ECu plus 0.18. Now if you see in this equation, we have two unknowns, sigma aluminium and sigma copper. But we have one relationship among them, that is sigma copper is equal to 0.4 times of sigma aluminium. So using equation 1, I can write down L aluminium into alpha aluminium into T minus L copper into alpha copper into T minus 0.18 is equals to minus, what is alpha copper? Alpha copper is 0.4 times sigma aluminium into L copper divided by E copper minus sigma aluminium into L aluminium divided by E aluminium. When you solve this equation, my sigma aluminium will come out to be minus 16.67 megapascal. Okay. Now minus sign is indicating here that assumed direction is not correct. That means what? We have assumed stress in aluminium to be tensile of nature, but after solving it is coming minus of 16.67. That means we can conclude from here that stress in aluminium or force in aluminium is compressive. So we can conclude from here that my stress in aluminium is of compressive nature, and stress in copper, that will be equals to 0.4 into 16.67 is equals to what? 6.52 megapascal somewhat, that will be of tensile of nature. Okay, so we have solved one question. Now let's solve second question. Now second question says that a simply supported beam has length L and depth H. Okay, it says like that a simply supported beam of length L and depth H. And it says temperature of the assembly is increased from 0 degrees Celsius at top, 0 degrees Celsius at top to T degree. So this is T degree Celsius at bottom with linear variation along the depth. due to heating the beam bends in the form of an arc of a circle. Due to heating, the beam bends in the form of arc of a circle. Neglecting the higher order, find the central deflection of the bar. It is asking us to find the central deflection of the bar. This question was also asked in GATE. I don't remember the year, but this question was somewhat asked in 2010 or 11, I think maybe. This same question was asked in GATE. So let's solve this question. This question says that there is a simply supported beam like this, whose length is L and whose depth is H. And temperature is changed from 0 degree centigrade to T degree centigrade. Okay, and it bends in the form of arc of a circle like this. So my shape of my new beam will be like this. Okay, and if this is the arc of a circle, so definitely these points are hitting at center. Okay, so if I take this R, my radius, okay, so my inner radius will be capital R and outer radius will be R plus H, because this dimension is H. Okay, and this is my length L. This curvilinear length is L. Okay, so let's see this in a fresh diagram like this. Okay, so this is my length L, this is H, and this is R, this is center point 0, and this is angle theta. So from the geometry, and these are free expansion. This is free expansion. This happened because of what? Because of rise in temperature. Okay. So if this is angle theta, this angle will be equals to theta by 2. This will be equals to theta by 2. Okay. Due to rise in temperature, I can say that my free expansion will be equals to L alpha T. Now half L alpha T will be produced here and half L alpha T will be produced here, this side. So my total length, total expansion will be equals to L plus L alpha T. Okay. Now if you see the geometry and if you apply the arc equation for circle, so we know that theta is nothing but this arc length plus radius. So we can say, what is my arc length? Arc length will be L plus L alpha T divided by R. Now R is for this inner circle and for outer circle, because this point will not change, because here rise in temperature is 0 degree centigrade, but at bottom there is T degree centigrade. So that's why we have taken L alpha T by 2 here at the bottom. So my radius till that point will be equals to R plus H, this total length. This total length, R plus H. Okay. One more thing, if you see in this small circle, let's say this is A, this is B, and this is C. If you see in this circle, in this small circle, A, B, C, this is my angle theta by 2, and this length is L alpha T by 2, and this is H. if I apply the same theta formula here, so theta by 2 is equal to L alpha T by 2 into H. 2 cancels, theta is equal to L alpha T by H. This is my equation 1 and this is my equation 2. Now I can equate 1 and 2. So L plus L alpha T divided by R plus H is equals to L alpha T by H. Now I want to solve this equation. So L plus L alpha T divided by L alpha T is equals to R plus H by H. This will be equals to L upon L into alpha T plus L into alpha T divided by L into alpha T is equals to R by H plus H upon H. So this is cancelled out, this is cancelled out, and this is cancelled out. So this, what we are left with, 1 upon alpha T plus 1 is equals to R by H plus 1. 1 to 1 cancel. So from here, I can determine my 1 by R is equals to alpha T by H. Now why I have obtained 1 by R? Reason for obtaining 1 by R is that in a circle, if you know this is forming like a circle. This is the center. This is the center. So we can make the circle like this. This is my circle. This is my radius R. This is my length L. And this is delta. This is delta, which is exactly hitting at the center. So this is L by 2 and this is L by 2. So from the property of circle, very important property of circle, useful in many exams, this property of circle. This says that L by 2 into L by 2 is equals to 2R minus delta into delta. So we can write here L square by 4 is equals to 2R delta minus delta square. So this is higher order which is being neglected. So from here, delta can be obtained as L square by 8R. So my deflection delta. So this is delta. If my beam, this was my beam. If my beam will bend as a like of a circle, arc of a circle. So this is that delta. Okay, and this is the circle. Okay, so this is the deflection at the center point. This will also be useful when we will study in deflection method. I have told you that in our course we will be studying one unit which is based on deflection method, where we will finding out the deflection of beam. So this property will also be useful there at that time also. So delta is equals to L square by 8 into 1 by R. Now what 1 by R we have calculated? So that is L square by 8 into alpha T by H. My deflection delta at center will be equals to alpha T L square. We are left with 4 minutes, so quickly we solve one more question. So another question says that a bar is partially restrained. A bar is partially restrained with the help of this spring. Okay, so this is A, B, and this is C. And the temperature is raised from 0 degree centigrade to T degree centigrade. Okay, and the length is L. So if you see the free body diagram, if I cut from here, this is my spring force Fs. So if you see here, this is my spring force. Like this. So this is the K spring. K is stiffness of the spring. Temperature is increased. Okay. And there is a compressive force in this by sigma. So final deflection, final delta will be equals to 0. Now delta will comprise of AB plus delta BC, which is equals to 0. So to calculate delta AB, I have to calculate deflection due to free expansion plus deflection due to restraint. So my deflection due to free expansion will be equals to L alpha T, as we are assuming it to be a compressive force. So this is sigma into L upon E. Now delta BC. Delta BC is a deflection in the spring force. So that is equals to minus Fs by K. So this is spring force, which is compression in nature, and K is the stiffness of spring. Okay. And now we will put all of these delta AB and delta BC in equation 1. So that will be equal to L alpha T minus sigma into L upon E. Okay. Minus Fs upon E. Oh, sorry, K spring. K spring, which is equals to 0. Now Fs will be equals to, now this Fs. Here we have Fs, here we have Fs. So Fs is nothing but what? Stress in this block and the area, whatever the area we have. Stress into area of that block. So we can write here that this Fs is sigma into area. Now putting this in this, so L alpha T minus sigma into L upon E minus sigma into A upon K spring is equals to 0. So we can write down L alpha T is equals to sigma has taken out L by E minus A by K spring. Okay. If you arrange all of these equation, let's say just take out the L by E. Sigma L by E is equals to 1 minus this will be equals to A E by K spring into L. Okay. Now AE by L, if you remember, is known as axial stiffness. Axial stiffness of the bar. So we can write this equals to K. So my L alpha T will equals to sigma into L upon E 1. This is sorry plus. So 1 plus K bar upon K spring. If you arrange everything, the sigma will come out to be E alpha T divided by 1 plus K bar